This is the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye 103.8.
Days away from Ramadan starting, and here in the Business Breakfast, our annual Ramadan-nomics features have kicked off. We are having a look this morning at what the holy month means for short-term rental demand here in the UAE. I'm very pleased to be joined by Oriol Plana. He's the founder of the holiday home management company, Mr.Alfred. Oriol, it's lovely to meet you. Good morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Before we have a talk about what the market is likely to do over the next month or so, give me an idea what we're talking when we're talking about the scale of Mr. Alfred. How many of these short-term rentals do you look after?
Yeah, so we have a portfolio of different clients, and we manage the whole commercialization, which means pricing, distribution to different channels, and we are almost 1,000 units managed here in Dubai only.
Okay, so how does Ramadan typically affect traveller demand and behaviour in the UAE? What have you seen in the last few years?
Yeah, the thing of Ramadan, as you know, is that every year gets 2 weeks before and before, so it's closer to the high season in our industry. So we are entering an unknown, because now the weather is very nice, so travellers come here in Dubai more than when Ramadan was summer. So usually we see a 10% decrease in occupancy and 20% in prices. So that impacts quite a lot our business. But this year, we are already around 8% to 9% higher in terms of prices. Occupancy, we don't know yet because it needs to end the period. But we're seeing a much better Ramadan than the previous years.
Okay, when you say you're 8% higher in prices, do you mean 8% higher in prices than last year's Ramadan?
Than last year's March.
The last year's
Yes,
March,
exactly.
which wasn't Ramadan.
Well, 2 weeks, no, exactly. Exactly.
So of the overall of the month.
Correct.
That's interesting. Overall, for last year, and you've been in the industry for 7 years, we have had Ramadan in cooler months for the last few years. Did they also see higher rents and higher occupancies than previously?
Yeah, of course. At the beginning, 7 years ago, it was in the middle of the summer, so it was like you never knew actually it was Ramadan impact or summer impact. Now there is a bit of impact, but also you need to understand that when we talk about demand, there are different elements as well. There is the global elements of the travelers that want to travel, whether in Europe the winter is a hard winter or not a hard winter, and also the dynamics of the market itself. I mean, Dubai has multiplied by 7 in terms of supply of holiday homes, so we're seeing a lot of impact in between supply and demand. So even though demand is growing very, very much, of course that impacts prices as well. So
when you say we're 7x what we used to be, from when?
In the last post-COVID. So since COVID, we have multiplied by 7, by 13 since we started in the last 7 years. So it's a huge growth.
Where have you seen, when you've seen prices up by 8% already for March, where is the demand coming from? Is it international coming in? Is it staycation? Is it business? Is it leisure?
No, it's mainly, now we're seeing international demand. The staycation is more last minute. And usually 1/3 of the bookings are last minute, meaning the last 2 days window. So that's where we're going to complement the demand with the local staycation.
Okay. What about business stays, people who are travelling for business? Because the one thing that does happen in Ramadan is that there's often less conferences and events.
Exactly. I mean, just to give you that data point, last week for Gulf Food, we were at 99.9% of occupancy. So now we're finishing the best week probably and entering Ramadan, right? But I mean, of course, conferences play a huge role, and that's why January and February is one of the best months of the year. But business is still strong. A lot of travelers choose holiday homes over hotels now, longer stays, 1 to 3 months. So, of course, we need to complement the less demand with corporate travelers. Of course.
What about people who are moving into the UAE, which, as someone who did quite a lot of short-term accommodation stay last year, I know that was a big market in the people that I had met. What role is it playing for you?
Definitely, it's a huge role. So we are now changing in our view the naming from short-term rental to flexible accommodation. So it's whether you can accommodate anyone coming for 1 day, staycation, 1 week, up to 3 months. This is what we're seeing the demand. So of course, this is shifting also the dynamics within the city. I mean, a lot of short-term rentals are in JBC, in JLT, in other areas where people prefer to stay there for 3 months and then look for a house for living.
Right, so less the tourist market.
Exactly.
What's the difference in premium between those that are beachside, for example, or in downtown in the tourist spots, and those that are in the more residential areas?
It's a huge difference. We're talking about 3-4 times, especially because the premium ones are also bigger. As you said, they have better amenities, they have the beach, they have the pool. So it's not, you cannot compare apple to apple. Also the decoration, everything is much better. So premiums obviously you see a 2 times, 3 times increase in price.
What do you see in terms of the type of property that is booked during Ramadan? Is there a difference in not just the location but the size?
Yeah, before it used to be much the specific demand, especially because a lot of Saudis were coming to Dubai, and you would look at bigger units because of the families coming here. Now Saudis are traveling a bit less to Dubai, so the mix is quite similar. There is not a huge change.
Is there a suggestion that that's because they're exploring the growing tourism in the home market?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, they're staying more in Saudi, there are more elements, the festivals, the food things that happen in Saudi, so there is more local travel.
So that's Ramadan. What about Eid? Eid al-Fitr this year, a couple of days, but it dovetails with the spring break.
Yes, and that's why the staycations, we don't know because people will leave, but yeah, Eid, as I said, is very strong, or similar to Ramadan, is very strong in the GCC market, so we're expecting a lot of travels from Oman, from Saudi, from Kuwait, from Bahrain, Qatar, and yes, there is a big spike. Of course, it doesn't happen in Europe and other countries, but there is a lot of families that are coming here to visit the families here in Dubai, so of course there is, probably we're seeing a double in price from the last week of Ramadan, which is quite slow, to Eid.
What will you expect to see in the staycation market, given the longer break for those with kids?
Yeah, and in the end, the staycation also, we compete with hotels. Hotels are giving an amazing offers in staycation now. If you have the Dubai Emirates ID, I think you have discounts and everything. And of course, with good weather, with pools, with kids activities and everything, we're competing with them. No? So yes, we try to target this demand. We need to do with good pricing, probably pricing a bit better in advance, so that we can get this demand of 2 months early, and try to compete with hotels in the end for a staycation. It's a strong competitor.
Oriol, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. And for those numbers, Oriol Plana, founder of the holiday home management company, Mr.Alfred, speaking to us this morning about what Ramadan in the cooler months means for the demand and for the prices for the short-term, flexible holiday and apartment rental market. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.